The facts. So today I just discussed about structure of the human eye. Let's start discussion of human eye. Eye is the most natural and beautiful camera that we possesses it. It is a powerful image gathering device. Now we are just going to discuss external parts of the eye. Eye consists of eyebrows that protect the eye from perspiration and direct rays of sunlight, the eyelids that protect the eyes from excessive light and foreign particles from entering into eye, and finally the eyelashes, which has sebaceous gland at the base of hair follicles, and they pour a lubricating fluid into the hair follicles, keeping it moist. Now, externally our eyes look like this. When we rotate the eyes, you will understand it has a ball-like structure. This is an entire human eye. It has a ball-like structure, and so it is known as eyeball. Now, the front white part of eye is known as sclera. This is circular opening in the center of the eye is known as pupil, and this colored portion of the eye is known as the iris. Next, now you do have to close your eyes when you try to directly look at the sun. Well, there are muscles present in the iris which can contract and relax, and this regulates the constriction and dilation of the pupil. That regulates the amount of light entering into eye. Now, let us see what is happening here. There is a darkness in the beginning. Now suddenly when the light is turned on, these muscles contract, constricting the pupils. See it again. See the muscles of the iris, they contract, constricting the pupil. Now the colored portion of the eye is known as iris. Now iris can be of different colors. It can be gray, it can be brown, blue, green, anything. Now you can see just like a camera has a lens which focuses the image on a photographic film. Similarly, our eyes also have a lens which forms an inverted image on the photographic film known as retina. So this is the lens which focuses the image on the photographic film of the eye, which is known as retina. Now next is continuation of the sclera in a front of the eye is known as cornea. So this is the cornea of the eye. Here you can see in the diagram, and it is the extension of sclera. Now there is another protective layer in the front of the cornea. This one and this protective layer is known as the conjunctiva. You can see in diagram about this protective layer called conjunctiva. Next, then now cornea is transparent so that light can enter into the eye if Due to some reason, the cornea turns opaque. Then we have a problems in the vision and the cornea needs to be surgically operated and replaced. Then the lens divides the eye into two chambers. This chamber in front of the lens is known as aqueous chamber, and the chamber behind the lens is known as the vitreous chamber. Now, the aqueous chamber is filled with a watery liquid known as aqueous humor, and the vitreous chamber is full of a glassy jelly-like liquid known as vitreous humor. Now next, I told you that there is a sclera and a retina. So this is the sclera, here you can see in diagram, and a retina. Now between these layer, another layer which is highly vascular or has a lot of blood supply is known as choroid. Between that sclera and retina, this choroid gives nourishment to eye because it contains blood vessels. This is choroid between the retina and sclera. Now let us try and identify different parts of eye. The outermost layer of eye is known as sclera. Here you can see in diagram, this is the outermost layer of eye, sclera. Then the middle highly vascular, there is a known as choroid. You can see diagram, a middle vascular layer, choroid, and the inner photographic layer where the image is formed is known as the retina. Here you can see a retina where the actual image is formed. Now the sclera in front of eye form the cornea. Here you can see in diagram. That cornea is protected by a outermost covering known as conjunctiva. So this is a conjunctiva. Diagram you can see protect the cornea. The colored part of the eye is known as the iris. Diagram you can see that this is the colored part of the eye known as iris. I think you are able to understand. The circular opening in the middle is known as pupil. So this is the pupil, that middle portion. I think all parts are very clear to you. This is the lens which focuses the image just like a lens of a camera. So lens of the eye you can see in diagram. Now the lens divides eye into two chambers, aqueous chamber and vitreous chamber. The aqueous chamber is full of a liquid known as aqueous humor. I already discussed with you in this video in starting. This is a short form of aqueous humor, and the chamber with the vitreous contain a fluid known as vitreous humor. VH is a short form of vitreous humor. Diagram you can see this vitreous humor. So these are the various parts of the eye. This was the structure of the eye. Next video we will discuss about retina and vision and eye defects. Now let's go to journey of eyes to understand the concept.
Our topic for today is human eye. The human eye is one of the most valuable sense organs that enables us to see the world around us. Let us study about the different parts of an eye. Sclera is a tough outer coat that protects the entire eyeball. Choroid is a vascular layer of the eye. It contains blood vessels that nourish the inner parts of the eye.
Hurry! Please, sit properly.
Sorry. No worries.
Cornea is the front portion of the eye. It is convex in shape and bulges outside. Light enters the eye through the cornea.
Hey.
Iris is a dark muscular diaphragm located just behind the cornea. It regulates the amount of light entering the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. Pupil is a hole in the middle of the iris. Size of the pupil decreases or increases depending upon the intensity of light entering the eye. Eye lens is made up of a transparent jelly-like substance, which is made up of proteins. It is held in position by the ciliary muscles and suspensory ligaments. The ciliary muscles and suspensory ligaments adjust the focal length of the eye so that we can see distant and nearby objects clearly. The ability of the eye to focus on distant and nearby objects by changing the focal length is called accommodation.
Please go inside.
Aqueous humor is a viscous liquid filled in the area between the cornea and eyelens. It prevents the eye from collapsing due to changes in the atmospheric pressure.
Where are you going?
I was just taking a walk.
Please, get inside. I don't want to be late.
Hey. Hey.
The retina is a delicate membrane having a large number of light-sensitive cells. The light-sensitive cells get activated upon illumination and generate electrical signals. The light-sensitive cells are of two types: rods, cells that respond to the intensity of light, and cones, cells that respond to the color of objects.
Hey. What is this? This is the macula. It is a tiny area in the retina which is responsible for clear and sharp vision. Hey. Did you know that there's a small depression inside the macula? It is called the fovea sentalis. Here, maximum number of cones are present.
An inverted real image of the object is formed on the retina. The electrical signals generated by the cells are sent to the brain through the optic nerve. The brain reassembles the signals into a meaningful image and gives rise to the sensation of vision.
Come on. Bravo! Seems like jelly.
Vitreous humor is a jelly-like substance filled in the space between the retina and the eye lens. It helps in maintaining the shape of the eye. Blind spot is a small region in the retina where the optic nerve enters the eye. It is insensitive to light, hence it is called the blind spot. Different parts of an eye: sclera, choroid, cornea, iris, pupil, eye lens, ciliary muscles, suspensory ligaments, aqueous humor, retina, vitreous humor, optic nerve, blind spot.
This video I would like to discuss about eye defects. So let's start about retina and vision. Two friends were walking in the forest. Everything appeared white and colorful. Since last time I discussed with you structure of eye, and some portion is left regarding retina, how image is formed, what type of cells are present, which help us to see in dim light, bright light, and vision. And in next video I would like to discuss about eye defects. So let's start about retina and vision. Two friends were walking in the forest. Everything appeared white and colorful under the morning sunlight. Now, as the evening approached, everything looked black and white under the moonlight now. Light was present both the time during morning time. The light source was the sun. In the night time, the light source was the moon. But colors are visible only in the bright light. Well, the image is formed on retina, so retina contains sensory receptors for the colors. Now, the same scenery looks different at different times. In the morning, it appears bright and colorful, but during night time, it appears black and white. So, are the same sensory receptors responsible for this? No, the same receptors are not responsible for this. So, there has to be two types of receptor for this. Let us see. Two receptors. First receptor is known as cone cells. Cone because the topmost part of the cell is cone shaped. Now the cone cells are activated in bright light and is responsible for color vision. And now the pigment present in cone cell is called iodopsin. The second sensory receptor cell is called rod cell, rod because this portion of cell is rod shaped. Now rod cells are activated in dim light and the pigment present in rod cell is known as rhodopsin. Now the different region of retina get activated at different times depending on whether it is daytime or if there is a bright light or there is a dim light. So now you can see the light is focusing horizontally opposite to pupil in the diagram. Now let us see what is happening actually. In the retina, distribution of rod cells and cone cells are not equal. See, in the central portion, there is mostly cone cells, so they get activated only when there is bright light, and it also causes colored vision. It helps in the colored vision and bright vision. This area is known as yellow spot. So, yellow spot is that area on the retina which has most number of cone cells. But now, Next, if you noticed carefully, you will notice that the area you can see in diagram has neither cone cell or rod cell. It does not have any sensory receptors. So, this spot is known as blind spot. There is a no vision, no sensory cells that causes vision in the blind spot. Well, this is because all axons of sensory receptors present on retina bundle here, and from here it goes to the occipital lobe of brain. So this is the blind spot. In diagram you can see, because from here all the axons of sensory receptors, they bundle together and leave the eye to reach occipital lobe of cerebrum, part of brain. Now you can see, the image of object which fall on retina is inverted, but then when the optic nerves takes the visual impulses to occipital lobe of the cerebrum, it become erect again, and that is why we see an object erect and not inverted. Now see, in a brightly lit room you are able to see everything clear and colorful. But suddenly there is load shedding and you are unable to see everything after first few seconds. After that you are able to see a faint outline of the various structure in the room. Now why does this happen? This is because when there is light in the room, pupil does not remain dilated. When there is less light, like in case of power cut, the pupil starts dilating with reduced intensity of light. Now, thus by dilation the area through a light enter the eye, it increases, and some more amount of light is now entering into eye. Also in reduced light, cone cell in the retina, they disintegrate, and rod cell in the retina, they activate through rhodopsin activation, and thus we are able to see in dim light as well as. But this rhodopsin activation takes some time, and so vision in dim light takes few seconds to be clear. This was about retina and vision. Now let us understand some eye defects.
We've seen what myopia is and how it can be corrected. But what's hyperopia? In simple words, it's exactly the opposite of myopia. Hyperopia is also called farsightedness. In this case, the distant objects are clear while the nearby objects appear blurry. This is because the light is focused behind the retina rather than on the retina. As I say, myopia and hyperopia are exactly opposite of each other. So the cause of hyperopia is also opposite to the cause of myopia. This defect results due to the eyeball being smaller than usual. So the distance between the lens and retina is smaller than it should be in a normal eye. And hence the image of a nearer object is formed behind the retina. And just as myopia can be corrected using a concave lens, this defect can be corrected using a convex lens. The convex lens helps in focusing the light at the correct place. Now that we know the basics of myopia and hyperopia, let's move on to another eye defect. We know that the cornea is a curved outer layer which refracts most of the light entering the eye. But sometimes the curvature of the cornea is distorted. It may become irregular like this, slightly elongated in the middle. This defect of the eye is termed as astigmatism. What happens when a person is suffering from this condition? In this condition of the eye, all the light is not focused at one point. In fact, it's focused at more than one point. And the second point could or could not be on the retina. It may lie in the front of or behind the retina. Astigmatism also results in the object appearing blurry. But is this defect for far away or nearby objects? It could be either. One of the reasons for change in shape of cornea may be continuous rubbing of eyes. This is the reason why we're advised to not rub our eyes too often. Another eye defect I want to discuss is presbyopia. This is the condition of the eye commonly found in senior citizens. In this eye condition, distant objects are clearly visible, but nearer objects appear blurry. Yes, you probably guessed that presbyopia is similar to hyperopia. Here as well, the light gets focused behind the retina. However, unlike hyperopia, it does not occur due to the shortened eyeball. What is the reason for this eye defect then? As the person ages, the lens reduces its power of accommodation. It means that the lens loses its flexibility to move. In this condition, the lens cannot adjust its focal length in such a way that the nearby objects are visible. Now, if you remember, in one of our earlier videos, I said that for a normal eye, the minimum distance between the object and the eye should be at least 25 centimeters. This would cause no strain to our eyes. But in presbyopia, the distance is more than 25 centimeters. Nearby objects do look blurry with this eye defect.